The legend of Daenerys Targaryen begins not with power, but with loss. Born in exile, hunted by shadows of her family's past, she grew up dreaming of home, a home she had never seen. In one world, 3 dragon eggs changed her fate, but in this one, they did not. In this what if, Daenerys Targaryen never received her dragons. The fire that would forge her destiny never came, and without them, the world of ice and fire took a very different shape. The story begins as it always does. In the free cities far from Westeros, Viserys Targaryen still sold his sister to Khal Drogo for an army, dreaming of the Iron Throne. The wedding was grand, the guests brutal, the gifts extravagant. But when the Magister Illyrio presented the 3 fossilized dragon eggs, their destiny quietly shifted. For in this world, those eggs never reached her. The ship carrying them was caught in a storm off the coast of Pentos and sank beneath the black waves. The eggs were lost to the sea, and with them the rebirth of dragons. To Daenerys it was simply another disappointment. She married Drogo, bound by duty and fear, not realizing that fate had stolen her greatest gift before it could ever reach her hands. Life among the Dothraki was still cruel, and Daenerys still grew from frightened girl to Khaleesi. She learned to ride, to command, to survive, but something was missing. That whisper of fire in her blood that had once awakened through dragon dreams. Without her dragons, the fire inside her dimmed. When Drogo fell ill after the witch's betrayal, Daenerys still begged for his life. She still called upon Mirri Maz Duur to save him. But without the power of dragon's blood, without the spark of fire magic, the ritual failed completely. Drogo died that night, and Daenerys, now widowed and alone, watched her world collapse. In the ashes of her grief, she looked to the stars, but there was no dragon rising in her arms, no miracle birth, no fire unburning. The Dothraki abandoned her, and in the endless red waste, she became just another lost widow beneath the dying sun. For a time, Daenerys wandered with the few who still believed in her, Jorah Mormont among them. But without dragons, she had no symbol, no myth, no army. Her followers dwindled. The word Khaleesi became a whisper, and her claim to the Iron Throne became little more than a dream told to empty desert wind. Still, she did not stop. She was her father's daughter, the last Targaryen. When she reached Korth, the city of merchants and masks, she was no longer a queen, only a refugee. She begged for ships, for soldiers, for allies. But in a world where dragons had never returned, no one saw her as special. The people of Qarth had no reason to fear her. Xaro Shondaxos, still the same silver-tongued manipulator, offered her wealth and comfort, but she saw through him. Without dragons, though, she had no bargaining chip, no proof of destiny. The House of the Undying had no visions to offer her. There were no prophecies of the Mother of Dragons. The warlocks had no reason to lure her in. Daenerys left Korth poorer than when she arrived. Years passed. The world turned. In Westeros, the War of the Five Kings raged. Stannis fought for faith, Robb fought for honor, and Cersei fought for control. None spoke of Daenerys Targaryen, the girl across the sea who never rose. In Slaver's Bay, the wheel of oppression turned endlessly. Without dragons to terrify slavers, Daenerys was just another voice shouting for freedom. Yet it was there, among the slaves of Astapor, that she found something else: the strength of human belief. She could not burn her enemies, but she could inspire them. When she saw the Unsullied for the first time, their lifeless eyes reflected what she had once been, a prisoner of men. She struck a deal with Krasny Smona Close, but without dragons, she had to offer something else. She promised him a false shipment of Valyrian relics stolen from Korth. A bluff. When the deception was revealed, Krasnys ordered her seized. But the Unsullied hesitated. They had seen her speak to them as equals, not as tools. And in that moment, the first crack formed in the system of slavery. Daenerys didn't conquer Astapor with fire. She conquered it with words and rebellion. The Unsullied turned on their masters, led not by magic but by choice. It was a bloodbath, messy, human, imperfect. But by dawn, Astapor was free. In Yunkai and Meereen, her legend grew, not as the mother of dragons, but as the breaker of chains. The cities called her Misa, Mother. Her banners bore no dragon sigil now, only a silver star on red, a symbol of freedom, not fire. She did not destroy the cities. She rebuilt them. Her reign was slow, full of politics, betrayal, and constant threat. Without dragons, she couldn't inspire fear. She had to earn respect. She ruled not through terror, but through law. And for a while it worked. But the world she built began to crumble. Without the deterrence of dragons, her enemies gathered faster. The masters returned, poisoning her allies, funding uprisings. The sons of the Harpy struck from the shadows. One night Jorah Mormont was killed in an ambush meant for her. Daenerys knelt beside his body, realizing that every choice she had made, every compromise, every mercy, had brought her here. She had freed the world, but she could not protect it. Meanwhile, across the sea in Westeros, the tides of war shifted. The Lannisters held King's Landing. Stannis burned on the Blackwater. Robb Stark was betrayed, and in the north the dead began to rise. The long night approached, but there were no dragons to light the fire. When Tyrion finally heard tales of the silver-haired queen who freed slaves in Essos, he didn't laugh. He saw in her the only hope for change. He fled Westeros, still carrying guilt for killing his father, and crossed the narrow sea to find her. He expected to meet a conqueror. He found a weary queen. Their first conversation lasted all night. Tyrion told her of Westeros, of the chaos, the hunger, the cruelty. Daenerys listened. When he asked how she planned to take the Iron Throne without dragons, she smiled faintly. "The same way I freed a continent," she said, "one heart at a time." But together, they began to build something new. Not an empire, but a movement. Her armies were small, her ships few, but her message spread faster than fire. Across the seas, small folk whispered her name again. Daenerys Stormborn, the queen without dragons. It wasn't power that made her unstoppable. It was faith. By the time she landed in Westeros, the realm was dying. Winter had come, the dead marched south, unstoppable, endless. Jon Snow had become Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, leading hopeless battles against the night. When Daenerys arrived at Eastwatch, Jon refused her crown, but accepted her aid. Together, they united two halves of a broken world, her idealism, his duty. Without dragons, the war was not won easily. Thousands died. The dead seemed endless. But Daenerys did not flee. She stood on the front lines, sword in hand, fighting beside her soldiers. No queen had ever done that. And when the Night King himself arrived, it wasn't dragon fire that ended him. It was sacrifice. Jon Snow fell that day, his blade buried in the heart of the darkness, shattering the Night King into ice. The dawn that followed was red and cold. Daenerys buried him with her own hands. In the years that followed, peace returned. The kingdoms rebuilt. Daenerys ruled from Dragonstone, not as conqueror, but as the queen of a united realm that had finally tired of war. There were no dragons soaring in her skies, but there were banners of silver and red flying across every city. When Tyrion once asked her if she ever regretted losing the eggs, she smiled quietly. "If I had dragons," she said, "I would have burned my enemies. Without them, I learned to understand them." And yet, as the years passed, strange rumors began to spread across the narrow sea. Fishermen claimed to see flickers of light beneath the waves, 3 shadows swimming in the dark, glowing faintly like embers. In Korth, a ship was found adrift. Inside, a chest of ancient stone. Cracked open, empty. The dragons had not been lost forever, only delayed. Perhaps in some way, fate had waited for a queen who no longer needed fire to rule. Narrator, closing voice. What do you think would have happened if Daenerys never had dragons? Would she have built a better world, or lost herself without fire to guide her? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Because in every timeline, destiny is not written. It is forged. This is the What If realm.